Mr. Ravi Chaudhry dons many hats. He is a business strategy consultant, mentor to CEOs and corporate boards, and a fellow of the World Business Academy. He is the founder chairman of CeNext Consulting and Investment that provides strategic advisory services to governments on investment promotion strategies and to corporations on sustainable global growth. His clients include Fortune 1000 corporations, UN organizations and governments of countries like Switzerland, Turkey, Brazil, etc. He has done intensive research on why companies succeed or fail in cross-cultural environments and also specializes in strategy audit and realignment to bridge the gap between performance and potential. To top it all, Mr. Ravi Chaudhry is a much sought-after speaker, communicating straight from the heart in a language understood by all. Let's extend a warm welcome to this multifaceted personality, Mr. Ravi Chaudhry.
I now request Dr. Ravi Chaudhry to deliver his address on reinventing leadership to ethics.
Fellow citizens of planet Earth, we are talking about future readiness. Are you there ready to listen to me? Okay, then let me begin by saying that future readiness is not about future. It's about you. Whether or not you succeed in future, and your future is ahead of you. Future readiness is about readiness for taking cognizance of two things: technology and ethics. And I think that's the reason why IMA has chosen today Switzerland as partner country. It's a leader in technology. Year after year, it ranks among the top 3 technological innovation countries in the world. And ethics. Switzerland is possibly the only true democracy in the world. In a way, I often say it's God's gift to mankind. They truly cherish democracy in a non-negotiable manner. And that's what leads to ethics. Thank you, Your Excellency, for inaugurating the conference and for your kind words in inaugurating it. To start understanding the future, we need to accept the reality that just when you think you have got answers to all the questions get changed. I am going to focus in my talk today more on ethics relating to future readiness. And I'm going to divide my talk in 3 parts: state of leadership today, a path from what is to what can be, and then leadership traits to cope with future. Let's begin with part 1. Where is our leadership today? Most of the dialogue tends to be focused on getting it right. But I believe it's equally important to focus on how we got it wrong in the first place. Though we shook off the British Empire 65 years ago, the quality of governance and leadership in the country has changed only marginally. The freedom struggle brought to power another elite that is as disinterested in removing poverty from India as the previous rulers. We continue to be a poor country, not because those who have power make choices that create progress, but they made choices that create poverty. They have done so not by mistake or ignorance, they have done so on purpose. In this context, I am going to highlight two facets. First, despite a pervasive sense of injustice and frustration in the country, each new revelation or case of corruption gets attention only for a short while. Neither the elite of India nor the media relentlessly pursue the struggle relating to the agony of the vast majority of Indians. Unlike in Mahatma Gandhi's time, the elite of India today is blissfully unaware of the agony of the masses. They are oblivious in their sheltered world because the status quo is tilted in its favor. Such injustice is not sustainable. It cannot be a part of the country we want. Barring a few exceptions, the elite of India has let India down. My second point is that collectively, the business community's actions and the politicians' complicity with them have given credence to a firmly held perception that corporate objectives and society's goals are like two tracks of a railway line. They seem to converge in the distance. In reality, they never do. In every period in history, there has to be a dominant group which takes care of the society. In the ancient days, it was the religious institutions which looked after the society. In the Middle Ages, the rulers and the tribal chiefs and heads of small kingdoms made sure society functions normally. Since the middle of 20th century, business has become the dominant institution in society. But business somehow is not accepting this role, that they have to share a responsibility for the society which creates wealth for them. This possibly explains the deafening silence of business community on every issue relating to endemic corruption or uncivility in public life. They continue with their way. But the good news is that an age is dark, not because the light fails to shine, but because people refuse to see it. We can see it if we realize that we will not go back to the world we knew. The cost of civil liberties and civic rights cannot continue to be ignored just for statistical economic goals. I'll now come to part 2. What is to what can be? I believe we live in truly exceptional times. And this is a message for the young people. Never before in history has such a wonderful confluence of favorable factors gathered together to transform our society into a better world. I say so because I believe we are moving into a new fifth phase of human enterprise, which has redefined the criteria of success and is recontouring the routes to success. There have been 4 phases till now. Phase 1 was strong fish eating weak fish. This was the law of preservation in the early days of industrialization. The Romans, the Turks, the British, the French, the Japanese, they all ruled with ruthless domination. And majority of human race accepted the rule of the mighty as the privilege of living. Phase 2 was big fish eating small fish. This was the beginning of the birth of joint stock company. East India Company was the first public limited company in the world in the year 1600. 1602 was Dutch East India Company, 1606 was Virginia Tobacco Company in USA. This created an ingenious mechanism for people who are not strong to put a small amount of their money. And if you created wealth, it's yours, but if you lost wealth, society will bear the loss. This gave birth to crony capitalism. Things got so bad that in 1876, US President Rutherford Hayes said that we are no longer a government of the people, by the people, for the people. We have become a government of the corporations, by the corporations, for the corporations. And since then, things are much worse. Phase 3 was fast fish eating slow fish. Apple was incorporated in 1977, Microsoft in 81, Google in 1998, 15 years ago. They created more wealth for themselves than others did in decades every year. Early 21st century, we saw the emergence of a new kind of corporation. Phase 4, intelligent fish eating dumb fish. This was the birth of Infosys, Wipro, and TCS in India, Haier in China, Embroider in Brazil, Samsung in Korea. They found newfound freedom to conquer the world. For institutions that failed, change of phase was the trigger. But those that survived, they are strong in substance, they are big in intellect, they are fast and responsive, and they are intelligent. All of them. Today, I see a new phase 5 emerging, and that is realistic fish eating unrealistic fish. This is the new realism, which is driven by demand for social consciousness and a need to function in sync with society and environment. Leaders in corporations, in civil society, in business, in politics, who realize the onset of phase 5 alone will emerge as winners. Because hereafter, a company that makes only money will be considered a poor company. The 700 million people of India who are not yet a part of the growth phase will no longer accept poverty as destiny. And this is the message our corporate leaders need to understand. I should also say that there are 5 strong forces which are accelerating the onset of phase 5. And these are knowledge-based civil society. I don't call them activists. They are enlightened citizens, and they are working on the premise that another world is possible. We have predominance of youth in demographics, supported by internet and social media. You are the most powerful entity in the world today. This bar has created an asymmetry that enables small players and even seemingly insignificant event to produce disproportionate impact or hold disproportionate power. Those in power must realize that we are now entering an era of end of privacy. Anything you delete on your computer today can be undeleted tomorrow. Therefore, every action is watched, and if it's not watched today, it can be watched tomorrow. We have enlightened stakeholders, customers, investors, employees, who are now beginning to question that they will not buy products or they will not invest in companies that are not in sync with society. And educators. This is about the faculty which is gathered here from Indian schools. I see stirrings in many institutions in the world that they are acknowledging the need to address two challenges. How to decorrupt today's leaders and how to make the leaders of tomorrow incorruptible. Whenever I address management institutes, I often ask the students that if you had a choice, would you agree to change the name of your program from MBA to MBC, Masters in Business with Conscience? If you do that, then you are ready for the future. The women have a great role to play in our country, in the world today. We must remember that the world is possessed of two wings, male and female. As long as these two wings are not equivalent in strength, the bird will not fly. The planet will not grow, the country will not grow. When the two wings enjoy the same strength and prerogative, the flight of humanity will be exceedingly lofty and extraordinary. But these five forces are at work. They will not stop till we have made this planet a place where there is equality, justice, and good ecology for one and all. I now come to part 3 and the concluding part. What are the leadership traits to cope with the future? I think I'd like to begin by saying that those of you who become CEO or leaders in any industry, society, organization you deal with, you have two sets of traits. First, the traits relating to the strengths within, physical traits. These are basic intelligence, energy and drive, and professional will. This is the starting point. Then you acquire traits of the mind, traits to deal and interface with outside world, pragmatic vision to foresee opportunities, transactional skills to build teams, motivate, and perseverance to overcome obstacles. These are what I call base camp leadership traits. Till now, these were generally sufficient for you to succeed. But in the fifth phase of human enterprise I spoke about, you need another set of traits. And if you acquire those traits, you are future ready. You will also become an exceptional leader. And what are these traits? These are the traits of the heart. They don't call upon us to change our hearts. They only call upon us to discover our hearts and the strengths that lie within our hearts. These are the traits of wholeness, compassion, and transparency. What is wholeness? You know, we all live under the same sky, but we have a very limited view of the horizon. Wholeness could mean that a leader must have as big a view as possible. And if you are a great leader, you may have a 360 view all around. In my concept of wholeness, that's only half the job. Every decision you make and every action you take has a consequence, conscious or unconscious, on people on the periphery of your organization. You may be displacing labor, you may be having wrong advertisements, you may be following unethical practices or polluting the environment. So the concept of wholeness demands that you put yourself into the shoes of those who are outside your organization and take a 360-degree view from their perspective. So wholeness is a 720 view. 720 leadership is the only way we can have inclusive growth in India. A 360 leadership excludes. A 720-degree leader will include those who are excluded. This is similar to the African concept of Ubuntu, which is a wonderful concept, which basically says that I am what I am because you are what you are. This is about interconnectedness of humanity, that we cannot be in isolation achieve anything. We can only be successful when others around us are also successful. And the second quality is compassion, which is a feeling of unconditional concern and love for others with a degree of responsibility. It's worth recalling that the word company is also derived from the Latin words cum and pan, meaning making bread together. Third is transparency. You know, most of us do our business like this because I'm scared that if I open my hand, all that I have will fall. But how about doing business like this? Let everybody see what you have. And you can keep what you have and also the space around it. So, for those who are in business, I will only say that if you pursue this journey toward exceptional leadership, you will be more future ready than by doing anything else. You will discover a pleasant surprise. You will experience a triple top line of joy, peace, and contentment, not only in your lives, but in the lives of people all around you. You have to take the step forward from corporate social responsibility, from CSR to ISR. Individual social responsibility of the CEO, that he personally accepts that the corporate character is responsible to society. That is corporate social responsibility, not just setting up a school or a college. That's good, but how do you treat society as a CEO? That is far more contagious and infectious sense of responsibility and an index of future readiness. For the young people, the path may seem difficult for those who are already used to not following it. But for those who have to choose a path, choose this path. I would conclude by saying that there is a very small window of opportunity today in our society for political and business leaders to align themselves with societal aspirations and become partners in pushing radical change. If they don't do that, they will lose the most. This calls for a change in mindset, a change in heart set, but there is no alternative. It is in corporate CEOs' self-interest today to accept the new realities and embrace them willingly. Be selfish, but be wise selfish, not foolish selfish. That is what future readiness is about. In a nutshell, if the leaders of tomorrow and the leaders of today wish to pursue only wealth, then what I have said is not relevant. But if you here and all of you there are looking for wealth and happiness, not only for you, but for people all around you, then you need to adapt and embrace the new reality of the fifth phase of human enterprise. There is a very famous quotation I am fond of, and I'll end with that. If you want happiness for a few hours, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, you go to a disco or go fishing or go and play golf. If you want to get happiness for a few months, get married. Though I don't agree with that, but that's what medium is. If you want happiness for a few years, inherit a fortune. But if you want happiness for a lifetime, then make others happy. And if you want eternal happiness and leave a legacy behind, then start listening to your conscience. But remembering always that the voice of conscience is so delicate that it's easy to stifle it, but it's also so clear that it's impossible to mistake it. For my young friends, please remember one thing, that there are three things in this world whose power is unlimited. Earthquakes, fires, and a determined person at work with ethics. If you do that, you are ready for the future. With these words, I commend leaders of today and leaders of tomorrow to a wonderful future. Thank you very much.